Ratatouille, what do you got?
Bird.
Now it. Stay off the comm.
Yours truly, Brevin Thompson, is back and here to talk about The Suicide Squad, written and directed by James Gunn. And did I have a lot of fun with this movie? This was... When it comes to this film, I feel like this is the direction that they should have taken for the first Suicide Squad back in 2016. I guess before I discuss more about my thoughts on this film, I should probably talk about what I thought of the film from 2016, which was David Ayer's film. Well, it wasn't entirely David Ayer's film per se. I mean, it was a film that was basically botched by studio interference by Warner Brothers, and they gave it to a company that mostly specialized in editing trailers. And mostly what we got was one film that's just been... It's a bit of a mess, but I like parts of the 2016 film. I mean, I still like Margot Robbie as Harley Quinn. I mean, I think she was one of the best parts of that film. I like Will Smith as Deadshot. I would say that the acting was probably my favorite thing of the film, but the script was a bit of a mess, so was the editing. Bits of the action, well, as long as you could see it, was a bit mixed. So overall, it's a film that's always been a bit of a mixed bag for me over the years. But when it comes to James Gunn's Suicide Squad, Warner Brothers just gave him free reign to do basically whatever the hell he wanted, and what we got was an R-rated comic book film that doesn't take itself too seriously, gives us characters that we can give a shit about, and it is violent as hell. And it's really hilarious. This is easily one of the funniest movies I've seen this year. And when it comes to the action, it's bloody as hell. I mean, there are some people who die in some of the most gruesome ways possible. I mean, there's people getting shot, people getting stabbed, torn to bits, and even getting eaten alive by a man, half man, half shark. So, yeah, there's a pretty high body count for this movie. And, I love how much this film can go nuts, and it's one of the few things that makes it so great, in my opinion. So in this film, Amanda Waller sets up a new squad and sends them off to the island of Corto Maltese to infiltrate a laboratory that contains something only known as Project Starfish. And in this lab, they conduct some very bizarre experiments to a lot of innocent people. So the squad must destroy this project before it ends up being a threat to the world. What I like most about this film is how great it's written. And I really like that Warner Brothers gave James Gunn free reign to do basically whatever the hell he wanted. And when it comes to that, I really hope that James Gunn gets to direct more DC movies, because he said in interviews that he wants to do more DC movies in the future, and I really hope that he does. And if you're familiar with James Gunn's work on the superhero genre, you're mostly familiar with his work on the Guardians of the Galaxy movies. And I love the Guardians of the Galaxy movies, but when it comes to his work on Suicide Squad, I really loved what he did for this film. With his direction, this film has excellent cinematography, some of the best I've seen for a comic book film. The visuals look beautiful, and the acting is spot on. Margot Robbie is still great as Harley Quinn. I can't really see anybody else playing this character as well as she does in live action. And she gets to kick a lot of ass in this film. And there's there's a few of the original cast who came back. Of course, we have Viola Davis as Amanda Waller. This bitch is ruthless and completely fearless, and she does not have time for your shit. Even if you're a DC supervillain, and this is a woman with some serious balls. Yeah. So this is one bitch you do not want to cross paths with. Joel Kinnaman was pretty good as Rick Flag, in my opinion. And we do have Jai Courtney coming back as Captain Boomerang, but only briefly. And as for the new players, when it comes to Idris Elba as Bloodsport, originally he was supposed to replace Will Smith as Deadshot, and I thought he was gonna be just a blatant copy of Deadshot, but I mean, he's an assassin, and it turns out that he has a daughter who he's trying to help out, and it's pretty clear that this was supposed to be a Deadshot type character, but he's completely different from Deadshot in my opinion, and I really like Idris Elba as this character, and I really love his rivalry with Peacemaker, played by John Cena. And there's this pretty cool but yet hilarious scene where they have like this competition on like who can pull off the best kill, and it's pretty badass but also very hilarious at the same time. Daniela Melchior, I hope I said her name right, was really great as Ratcatcher 2, and basically what her character does is she has this little device that she can use to control rats, and out of all the members of the squad, she's probably the most innocent out of the group, and she's definitely the heart of the film, and she has a little sort of daughter-father bond with Bloodsport, and I really love that. That's a really good, nice touch. And we do get a few flashbacks of her and her father, who is played by Taika Waititi, who was the original Ratcatcher. David Dastmalchian, I hope I also said his name right, was pretty good as Polka Dot Man. And I didn't know what to expect from this character because for a long time this character was mostly viewed as a joke. But I really like what they managed to do with a character as goofy as Polka Dot Man. And when it comes to this character and what his backstory is and what he sees all the time because of his powers, you just cannot help but laugh your ass off of how funny it is. But at the same time, I mean, you do feel sorry for him, but when it comes to the one moment in the climax when they go up against, well, I don't want to give anything away because it's a major spoiler, what Polka Dot sees when fighting the big thing. I mean, if you see the movie, you know what I'm talking about. And what he sees, instead of the big thing, he sees something completely different, and I cannot help but laugh my ass off of how funny it was. And I was just like, oh my god, they actually did it. It works. It definitely works, especially for a character like Polka Dot Man. But the one character who stole the entire movie for me was King Shark, voiced by Sylvester Stallone. And every scene with this character is gold. And he's basically the movie's R-rated version of Groot. And that's kind of what I expect in most superhero movies that are directed by James Gunn. I mean, I don't know what it is with James Gunn's superhero films, having CGI characters who can be adorable but yet badass at the same time. Because in Guardians of the Galaxy, you have Groot and Rocket, who are awesome. And in Suicide Squad, you have King Shark, who... This is a character that you love because, I mean, he's completely misunderstood. And he's quite the badass and pulls off some of the most gruesome kills in the film. And I really like the friendship that he has with Ratcatcher 2, even though, like, in one scene he almost ends up eating her while she's sleeping, but they quickly make up, like, a few minutes later. And I really love this character, and I really hope to see more of him in future movies. The action sequences, for the most part, are very entertaining, and they keep you engaged throughout the film, and I really love the one with Harley Quinn when she's just mowing guys left and right, and she's quite a badass. And this really tops the police station scene in Birds of Prey. I was like, I wonder how they're gonna top this. They did, and it's easily one of the best scenes in the movie. And when it comes to the action sequence at the end of the film, it delivers exactly everything that you would expect for a Suicide Squad movie, especially if it's under James Gunn's direction. And I really like what they managed to do. And when they go up against the big thing, then I mean, if you've seen the movie, of course you know what I'm talking about. I really love what they managed to do with it. As for the film's tone, it does not take itself too seriously, and I'm pretty okay with that. And with James Gunn getting free reign to do what he wants, there's like a lot of characters, I don't want to say who they are, that die, and there was a lot that I didn't expect to die at all, and what happens in the first few minutes, it immediately sets the tone for the rest of the film. And in the first few minutes, I was like, holy shit, I did not see this coming. And I'm pretty sure if you've seen the film, then you probably had that same reaction, because, like I said, I mean, a lot of people die in this film, and it's just like, I mean, and when the big action stuff happens, you're just like, holy shit, holy shit, holy shit. And it's definitely one of the more entertaining films that I've seen this year. And I was watching this film like a hawk for flaws, and honestly, I didn't really have much problems with the film. And I was like, is there like a slow scene? But I had to I saw this in theaters, and I watched it twice on HBO Max just to prepare for this review. And I was like, there's nothing really wrong with this film. I don't know how James Gunn managed to pull this off. I mean, he made probably his best comic book movie, and I'm giving you guys my honest opinion. He made his best comic book movie. This tops Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 1 and 2. And I am being completely honest. This is my honest to God opinion. He managed to top 2 superhero movies he already made for a different studio. And just because he was given free reign to do whatever the fuck he wanted, he delivered his best work, in my opinion. Overall, when it comes to the Suicide Squad, it's easily one of the best comic book movies I have ever seen. It's definitely one of the best in the DCEU so far. And the action sequences are very entertaining, the performances are spot on, and has excellent camera work, a good score, a good soundtrack, and I really hope that James Gunn can continue to make good DC movies like this. Of course, I'm excited for Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3, but as for his work on DC, I'm kind of more excited for what else he'll do for DC, because after seeing this, I'm really intrigued to find out what else he'll do in the future for DC. I'm going to give the Suicide Squad an A+. Hallelujah. 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 So what were your thoughts on the Suicide Squad? Let me know in the comment section below. Man, did I had a lot of fun with this movie. I really, really love this film. It's easily one of the best I've seen so far this year, right next to A Quiet Place Part 2. Guys, thank you so much, as always, for watching, and I'm looking forward to doing more videos really soon. And if you want my thoughts on old or new movies, of course, you know where to find me.